Have you ever wondered why you study so many hours but still can't get good grades? Here are my top 8 study tips to help you ace your exams and score well. Hi guys, I'm Pei, a student from NUS High School of Math and Science, producing motivational and aesthetic content like vlogs and much more. Do subscribe if you enjoy watching what I produce, and let's hop into the tips for the day. Here's what we'll be covering today. In school, you have many different subjects from languages to math and science, humanities, and they can all be classified into 3 sections: problem-solving subjects like math and physics, inference subjects like languages and humanities, and application subjects like biology and chemistry. I'll be sharing my tips for each section that have helped me score well, so let's get started. First, I'll be going through my techniques for the problem-solving subjects. Problem-solving subjects require you to solve questions or problems quickly and accurately. So what can you do to ensure that you can score well? After you become familiar with the concepts, you must practice, practice, and practice. Try to find extra practice questions and attempt all sorts of practice material. Expose yourself to various questions, ask your seniors for the past year material, and literally just grind all of them questions. This tip can be applied to literally almost any subject in any section, but you should be familiar with each question type and know how to solve each type of question. So you have attempted so many questions as said in the previous tip, and no one is perfect, so there has to be many mistakes as well. Now here's where this tip comes in. Collate all of the questions you've gotten wrong and write them down together with their solution. Here's one of the error books I've made throughout the year. As you can see, I've folded the page in half. The left side contains all the questions and the right side contains all the solutions with the final answer highlighted. This eases the revision time you have to put in, as you no longer need to flip through huge stacks of material to find that one question you got wrong and even miss out some questions. Everything is already neatly organized in one worksheet, which is your error book. If you prefer to do it online, you can do it in a Word document or use the toggle function in Notion to do so by putting the question in the toggle function and the solution in the empty toggle thing. When you receive a question, for example a word question, you need to know how to make use of that information. For example, let's use this physics question over here. This is a density equation where density equals mass over volume. I like to use triangles because I'm a noob. In the question, you are given these two numbers, and the question asks for the volume of the rock. So first, you have your triangle and you need to identify which component these numbers are. This goes the same for more complicated questions involving 2 or more equations or concepts. So making use of the numbers and keywords that you have, you can identify which equations or concepts to use. So back to this question, you have mass and density, so you can easily find the volume with mass over density. So that's all for the problem-solving subjects, and now we'll just move on to tips for inference subjects. But to be honest, I really don't have many tips for this, so I'll just be skipping it. But if any of you guys do have tips, leave it in the comments so we can all learn together. Finally, our application subjects. Application subjects require you to be familiar with the content and the model answers, and then apply them into the scenario you are given. So flashcards is a great way for you to help yourself memorize everything. And nowadays, there are many flashcard platforms like Anki and Quizlet, which personally I use Quizlet, but you can also do hard copy flashcards. Flashcards and doing practice problems are active recall methods which require you to retrieve information from your brain rather than putting information you already know inside. Information retrieval is what will be tested in the exams. So this is the forgetting curve. As you can see, memory of what you have learned decreases over a few days. So in order to make sure what you have learned stays inside your brain, you need to do active recall frequently. Using the example of flashcards, you review your flashcards after 1 day, then 2 days, then 4 days, and so on. As you can see, the time interval increases as the day passes. This ensures that everything becomes long-term memory. This is also why you should recap what you have learned in class after school or the next day, so retention of information can occur. By now, you would have noticed that we only have 5 tips, so here are the very miscellaneous tips that can help you score well. I have many friends who like to write notes, even though it takes ages for them to complete the notes because they don't write very fast. Maybe they take writing notes as revision technique or a way to recap the chapter before exam rolls around. So here's what I want to say about writing notes, and this is purely my opinion, but you can take it into consideration. Firstly, why are you writing notes? Personally, I believe that writing notes should be a way for you to consolidate a chapter that you find confusing, or to create a summary of that chapter, especially if the textbook contains a lot of unnecessary information, which makes it hard for you to create things like flashcards. So if your textbook is perfectly fine and it is already rather concise, then in my opinion, there is really no reason why you need to write notes. Secondly, are you handwriting notes or typing notes? For me, I can write really quickly, and handwriting my notes helps me to retain information better. However, if you don't write fast enough for making notes to be efficient, consider typing your notes out. If you're like me, in the sense that writing out stuff helps you to remember better, but you don't write really fast, then listen to the next tip. If you have watched my vlogs, you would know that I did this thing called bloating or dumping for a specific subject. So what is bloating or dumping? So this is the process whereby after you finish revision of a whole chapter or subtopic, you write out the notes without referring to any material or asking for help. So it's just you, a pen, a piece of paper, and your note. So what you would do is to write everything you can remember about the topic, but not caring too much about the structure or how neat it is. So you just write everything out. So once you have written everything out, track back with your notes and mark your new set of notes. If you missed out a point, write it at the end in a different colored ink. So this is another method of active recall, and personally it worked super well, and it helped me score my A+ and A's. So this is one of the most important things in my opinion for scoring well in the exam. So how do you do error analysis? Every time I finish a practice for any subject, whether it's English, biology or math, I will note down all my big points on the top of my paper. So let's use English for example. My exam paper has 3 components: passage-based question, unseen poetry, and short answer questions. After marking, I will know which component I'm weaker in and what I can do to add on to get more marks. For SAQ and poetry, there are different question types, so I can identify those that I'm weaker in and focus on those in future practices or ask teachers for help. When I was preparing for my PSLE in 2021, I opened a Google Sheets of all my results for every single examination practice paper I did, writing down any keywords or points I needed to take note for future practices or for the exam itself. Then on the day of the exam paper, I would review all the points I've taken down to refresh my memory. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys learned a lot, and also I would just like to say a few of these tips I've shared in the past few and future few videos are from study tubers I watched like Faye Films and Mike and Matty, so I highly recommend you guys check them out as well. Anyways, thank you for our 813 subscribers, and I will see you guys on Sunday for our weekly vlogs. Bye bye!